To Tokyo comes Vice President Alvin W. Barkley with Mrs. Barkley. The VEEP is on a personal fact-finding tour. He's greeted at Haneda Airport by General Matthew Ridgeway, Supreme Allied Commander. Mr. Barkley says he wants to get all the information he can about Korea and the Far Eastern situation. Then he leaves immediately by another plane for the Korean fighting front. To Paris comes West Germany's Chancellor Konrad Adenauer for talks with the big three foreign ministers. Adenauer doubles as foreign minister for his own country. At the Quai d'Orsay, Britain's Anthony Eden arrives for the conferences, which will give West Germany almost complete independence. United States Secretary of State Dean Acheson is also present as Adenauer meets the big three, including Robert Schumann of France, on equal terms. The West will maintain forces in Germany, and the Germans will contribute men to the NATO army. To Tokyo's Korakuen Stadium comes Joe Louis on a tour of Japan to put on a series of exhibition bouts with Navy heavyweights at a Shriners Sports Carnival. Though he's far from the form that kept him world's champion for 12 years, Joe still carries a power-packed punch that keeps his opponent hopping. 10,000 fight fans see Joe Louis conclude his exhibition by taking on a tough sailor. With still more exhibition bouts scheduled, speculation runs high that Louis will make another comeback attempt. His first show a success, Louis is honored by Japanese admirers.
In Cairo, Egyptians put on a strange, almost eerie anti-British demonstration. In utter silence, a 3-mile-long parade files through the city. The government orders quiet, but banners with bitter slogans like, "Get out, dirty English," make the Egyptian sentiments clear. 1 million spectators look on. Bystanders are as silent as the marchers. As terrorism continues in the Suez area over the presence of British troops, Cairo protests differently, with deadly, ominous silence. In Panmunjom, after more than 4 months of wrangling, real hope for a truce appears. From the conference tent, red negotiators emerge, unemotional but apparently pleased. They have agreed with the UN truce team on a ceasefire line to be effective if other terms are settled in 30 days. Reporters are told the ceasefire might come by New Year's. Optimism is in the air, but there's much to agree on in just 30 days. Meanwhile, the world hopes for a magnificent New Year's present, truce in Korea. At Pearl Harbor today, 10 years after, it's a scene of peace and serenity. But on that December 7th, the skies were filled with death. Those who gave their lives are remembered here. Admiral Radford, Pacific Commander, recalls the attack and the war into which it hurled us.
10 years ago today, our peaceful nation was attacked at Pearl Harbor. In the war which followed, many Americans died. During that period of darkness, however, there were heartening displays of national character. The initiative and courage of a free people and the unceasing production of our industries. From the carnage of December 7th, 1941, grew the magnificent base of the present Pearl Harbor. The new Pearl Harbor stands as a monument, not only to those who died, but also to the living whose integrity and toil created it.
The crew of the carrier Valley Forge spells out the anniversary of a dark day with a prayer that it will never happen again.
At Lexington, mighty Tennessee charges onto the field to take on and take over Kentucky. Behind beautiful blocking, Hank Laracella gets things rolling for the Volunteers, hailed by some experts as the top team in the land, and already set for the Sugar Bowl. Hank chalks up 38 yards. The job of going across falls to Hal Payne, who smashes over from the 6 to make it Tennessee 7, Kentucky nothing. In the next quarter, quarter, Tennessee unleashes another sprinter, Bert Reicheshar. The Volunteers are out for their 20th straight victory over the Wildcats, and Reicheshar puts them 29 yards nearer to their goal. Tennessee, which is to score once in every quarter, springs Andy Kozar for the second Volunteer TD. A pass from Lauricella to Caseta adds insult to injury as Tennessee thrashes Kentucky 28-0. At New Haven, it's the 68th Yale-Harvard game and one of the most thrilling of them all. Yale draws first blood as quarterback Jim Ryan goes 47 yards for an Eli touchdown. Yale 7, Harvard nothing. With Jerry Conway carrying, the Bulldog roars again. Jerry sprints 35 yards to set up the second Eli score. Yale seems to have the game in the bag, 14-0. Then Harvard aerials start clicking. John Aderer sends one to Paul Crowley, and the Cantabs get 25 yards closer to Yale goalposts. Dick Clasby takes over the heaving. The pigskin flies to Crowley, and it's a TD, Yale 14, Harvard 7. For Harvard rooters, the thrills are just beginning. Crimson halfback John Aderer rocks the bull with the longest run from scrimmage in the history of this Gridiron Classic. The Bulldog team chases him in vain as Aderer covers 83 yards to make Yale's lead merely a memory. Harvard 14, Yale 14. Yale attempts to pass, but Harvard's Fritz Drill intercepts. And with less than 5 minutes left to play, Harvard goes ahead, 21-14. Yale races desperately against the clock. Ed Malloy connects with Ray Bright, but only 1 minute and a few seconds remain. Again, Malloy fires to Bright. It's an Eli score and a Harvard-Yale tie, 21-21.